That's better. My mic should be working now. Let me know if you can't hear me or if the volume is too loud, too soft, or anything like that. I am streaming from my house today. Usually I stream from my office. Today I'm streaming from my home. So I had to quickly reconfigure all the things. So I'm still not quite ready, to be honest. But hey, it's streaming. It's not a workshop. I don't have to be perfect. I'll be honest, it's one of the things I love about streaming is it can be a bit wonky. I was hoping that this audio would be instrumental only because I picked up last week that if I have audio that isn't instrumental, then my transcription service transcribes the audio from the music. So I'm going to very quickly try and find something that's a bit more instrumental. And less boppy. I don't like boppy music when I'm coding. Let's try lo-fi. This might be better. Let's see how that goes. If it's horrible, then I'll change it again. Hey Carolina, welcome. I hope you're feeling better. I think you were ill last week, so I hope you're feeling better. I keep forgetting the camera's there in front of me. I keep looking at my OBS window there, but the camera's... Anyway. All right. What are we doing today? Today... Okay, so... My big news of this week... Excellent. Glad to hear you well, Carolina. My big news for this week, or this past week, was the fact that VS Code recently released an update. Actually, it was April the 4th, so that was when? That was last week. Oh, okay, it was last week Friday. All right, I missed it. GitHub CoPilot, Agent Mode, and MCP support, and I still have to figure out what MCP support is. Evening, Cameron. Must be very late for you, bud. Has been rolled out to all VS Code users. So if you're a VS Code user and you're using GitHub Copilot, you now have a new agent mode. So this is very similar to the agent mode, I guess, the agent mode that we've already had in Cursor for a while. And so agent mode in Cursor, at least, can do things like automatically make suggestions and changes to files. It can open files, it can read files. It uses grep and those kind of text-based tools. And if you're vibe coding, that's what you're probably using. You're probably using some kind of agent. You're giving it instructions. I recently did a Hugging Face course, so all around AI agents, to kind of understand how they work. And essentially an agent has a predefined set of tools that it can use so that when you ask it something, it can run certain tools and then take your query and run it against the LLM that it's connected to and then return some results. And so the tools that the Cursor agent has, for example, are tools that can generate the code inside the files for you and run GitHub commands and all that kind of stuff. So file manipulation, maybe the wrong word, but file editing files, changing files, saving files, running commits, running commands, terminal commands. So that is now available in VS Code. So I see there is an update to Cursor. I'm going to update my Cursor version. I want to get the latest and greatest of everything. So let's update VS Code as well. I don't think there is going to be a VS Code update. There might be, but let's get that up to date. And so anyway, the plan today is to continue working on that Markdown Exporter plugin that I've got. Continue fixing bugs, but I want to fix the same bug in both VS Code with Copilot and Cursor. That's the plan. So I just want to remind everybody who is here already, if you can't hear the music, it's not the end of the world, but let me know and I'll bump the volume up or down. If I'm not loud enough, let me know and I'll bump the volume up and down or down. The music for me is fine. I'm wearing different headphones today, so it sounds like the music's okay, but hopefully it doesn't override the voice, because I guess you want to hear me talking what's in my head while I'm doing this. I don't know, maybe you don't. Okay. So that's Cursor. That's VSCode. Oh my word, that looks so similar. Because Cursor is a fork of VSCode, basically. I'm going to have to remember which is which. What'll help me... Okay, here we go. There's an update for VSCode. What will help me is the fact that I think VSCode has the little cursor icon over here. So I'm going to try and remember which is which. Okay, so while that's going, I'm going to hop on over to my WP to MD exporter. Last week we were working on the images. I think I found a bug with lists, so I think we'll maybe focus with that one. The integration to existing tools export. We decided we're going to move it to a submenu item of tools. That's an easy one to fix, so I kind of don't want to give it that one. There are currently some known bugs in the plugin that I remembered about last week. I can't remember what my demo site was, so let me just run Studio. You watch, it's probably going to be an update for Studio as well. Maybe not. Can you guess what I was testing recently? Oh yes, I was working with this copy of my local site. That's what I was working with. So let's start that up. I'm not going to lie. I am looking forward to the day when the AI builder that WordPress.com launched the other day is available in this AI assistant. That could be quite cool, but that's a whole different conversation. Okay. So let us open WP admin and let us check. So there are some known bugs in this thing whereby it doesn't show. It shows that, right? So I can download the export there. But if I come back to here, it doesn't show that that was a previous download. So that's a known bug as well. And I think I might have... Oh, that was the other one. It doesn't clear out the previous export. So that was one bug that happened. So I want to create this new issue as well, which is list any previous exports. Wait, the previous exports list is not, it's not working. Previous export list is not working. On the admin page, there are previous exports. They are not listed for download under the previous exports header. So that could be an interesting bug. Carolina says, just put the AI tool in the create block theme plugin. Ooh. That's an interesting idea. I could actually see the two of them working well together. Could be fun. I don't make those decisions, so I can't recommend that one way or the other. What I would like to see though, so complete tangent. What I would like to see is Studio either giving you the option to automatically install create block theme, sorry, or just doing it for you, because create block theme is like a foundational tool if you're building a theme. And if you're going to use Studio, which I'm not saying you must, but if you choose to, and you want to build a site, you're probably going to want to build a theme. So it would be cool to have create block theme as an option where you can say, you know, when you create a new site, under here in advanced settings, you could say automatically install create block theme because this is going to be a theme that I'm building. That would be quite cool. So I might create a PR for that one day because I think that would be a cool feature to have. Anyway, complete tangent. Okay, let me create that issue. So maybe we'll work on this one as well. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I want to go back to I remember there was a lists issue that I remember seeing. And I think it was to do with indented lists, if I remember correctly. So let's test that out and see what's what. Okay. So I've got 3 posts. I just want to check if these posts have lists in them. Let's exit the code editor. Okay, so this does have single line lists. So that's fine. Why have I got the code editor on for all of these? This has got some code. Maybe we test the code. Maybe the code breaks. It does have some lists. They're not like hectic lists. It does have some lists. So I can always go ahead and change that if I really need to. Okay. So now this is where it's annoying because I want to be able to go back and just click on that download that I created earlier, and I can't because this thing's broken. So we'll see. Okay, let's start with VSCode or Cursor. Let's start with Cursor. I'll tell you why. Because Cursor is the one that I'm going to say the most familiar with, but I'm the most familiar with the Cursor agent. So I feel like I know it well enough to get a good result. So I'm going to start fixing this bug with that. So it's this one over here. The other thing I don't know whether the VSCode agent can accept external links like Cursor's one does. So that's going to be interesting to see. All right, let us close this and create a new chat. It defaults to agent mode, which is great. I'm not going to worry about the test right now. I never know what the best file is to give it context. So I'm going to just open up this file. What errors am I seeing here? These are PHP CSS errors. Nice. Okay, I'm not going to worry about those for right now. Inline comments must end in full stops. Why did I see those last week? Maybe I was worrying about it. Anyway, so I'm going to open up that into context. Yeah, that's my goal today, is to try it out. And then I'm going to open up the WordPress to Markdown Exporter, which just inits some hooks. So I'm not going to worry about that one. I'll open up the converter, because the converter does most of the conversion work. The exporter, the file handler, the security, I'm not going to worry about all that. We'll open up the converter. Okay. So let's start by giving it some context. Let's say, sorry folks, I'm using a different mic today, and this mic stand is getting in my way, so I'm going to move it slightly so that it's not in my way. There we go. All right. So let's say explore the code base for this WordPress plugin and summarize its features and functionality. I honestly don't know whether this makes a difference in the grand scheme of things. But I do it every time I start a project, hoping that it will give the agent context. Because as far as I know, every single command you send it, I might be wrong in this, but the first time I started working with these agents, it was a case of every time you add another command, it basically just adds it to the previous one. And so there is some kind of quote unquote context. Why do I keep looking at the OBS window when the camera's there? And so I'm hoping by doing this, it gives the agent some kind of context to work with. Okay, so then let's say sometimes the first two bullets on the rest are ignored. Okay, so let's check and export first and see what we get. Now this means I'm going to have to download the export. And now I'm not getting instrumentals, so now this is going to affect... I want instrumental only. So there is one marked instrumental in this bunch of playlists. I'm going to find that one. And I'm just going to play it and hope for the best. Okay. So let's open up Markdown exports. I'm going to delete the old one, which was last week's. And let's export this guy. And what I've been doing is opening it up in PHP Storm. All right, so let's see what that gives us. Okay, so all kinds of fun errors showing up. I don't know why that is. I wonder if it thinks it's some other format or something. Markdown, all problems, none. Okay. There's obviously been a PHP Storm update and now it's all yellow for some reason. Oh, it was the image stuff I was working on last week. There's still a bug there. Maybe we should fix that one first. That's actually not a bad idea. Those of you who were with me last week will remember this was an irritating bug. So let's see if we can fix that. Now the question is, this is a gallery. It's when there's a gallery. When there's a gallery, there's a trailing figure tag that gets left in the export. Okay. Yes, I think that was the last thing that I got frustrated on, and I think we tried it 3 or 4 times, and it still hadn't been fixed, and I got so annoyed I stopped streaming last week. So I think that's the last thing for the images, and then the images is done. So I was thinking, let's see how the two agents handle this, as an example. So let us prepare some things. Let's first go and where do I have this? It's under Studio. I think it's just called Jonathan Passenger, yes. That's the one. Okay, it's on fix image markdown attempt 2. So let's stay there. What I really should do now is create some branches. So let's say git checkout must be fix image markdown attempt 2 cursor. So we'll give cursor an option first. And then I've got to come back to attempt 2. Okay, cool. All right. Whenever a gallery of images is converted to markdown images, there is a trailing closing, let's call it a closing figure tag that remains. This should be cleaned up in the export. Now what I'm going to do, I've done this before, I'm going to quickly open up Simple Note. And I'm going to, I took it off screen because I didn't know what was going to open. It doesn't matter. Whatever I opened wasn't important. See, I wasn't even prepared. I didn't expect to have to pull these things in. Like I do. Normally I set this all up beforehand. So I want to keep a copy of my prompts because I want to give the agents the same prompts so that we can see what the results are from the same prompt using the different agents. So that's the plan there. All right. Let's see what it does. I'll help you fix the issue with the trailing figure tag. Let's examine the code. I can see it's extracting individual images. Okay, so it's just doing a preg replace at the end. I mean, that's fine. Now it seems to be doing it almost everywhere. Now it's fixing linter errors, which it didn't do last week. Remember, if you were here last week, it didn't fix any linter errors. Interesting. Now it's fixing spacing issues. I hate how this thing just does more than what you ask it to. There's got to be a way to stop that. Oh, now it's going off on its own tangent again. Okay, let's see what it's done so far. Ugh, it's still trying to do... Stop doing the white space stuff. Cancel. Stop. 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 Reject. Okay, let's try this again. Do not fix any other linting or spacing issues. Only fix the problem with the closing figure tag. I was pretty sure I set this in my cursor rules. Maybe I didn't. Let's have a look. Oh, I didn't. Is it not because the linting rules are mentioned in the document at the beginning? Possible. In the context you added before the prompt where you asked to fix the figure. Oh, you mean in here? Yeah, that's possible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a rule. Don't know why I had these dashes in front of it, but anyway. I'm going to add a rule here that says when suggesting fixes, only suggest fixes based on the prompt. Do not fix linting or spacing issues unless requested. Whether that's going to make a difference, I don't know. But let's see. Let's take this out and see what happens now. I see that you've reverted the changes I made. Interesting. Big Brother is watching. Flip. I guess not. As my Italian friends would say. Okay, so that is the other side of it. I have to in my cursor rules, I did tell it to fix any WordPress coding standards issues. So I guess it'll just have to be the way it is. Okay. It hasn't tried to run any commands, which is fine. So I'm happy with that, at least. Let's see what it's done. Okay, so it's added a full stop there. Fine, whatever. Yeah, okay. It's a spacing issue, that's fine. Okay, so that's basically replacing now this might break because of, where is it? Might break this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So it looks like this is just doing a check for any closing figure tag. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay, let's run this. Let's accept this, should I say? And then let's run it. I'm going to overwrite the zip file that we have there. Okay. Let's see what it has done. I told you. Interesting. All right. So that was kind of expected. I'll be honest, as I said last week, I'd love to dig into this code and actually like make it better using the HTML API, but that's not the point of these live streams. I now want to see what VS Code does, because that was a nice small little sample. What we might need to do, based on how I'm remembering how the functionality of this code works, is we might need to handle the blocks in order of adding video to it. Why can't I command click? It's annoying. So currently it does the gallery, the image, blah blah, does all of that, and then it's not doing the video, and then it's doing that cleanup at the end. Somewhere, can't remember where now. Somewhere it's doing that cleanup. Where was that? There. What line was that? There we go. At the end of convert gallery. Okay. So I don't know if I would call this a complete fail. It's kind of like what you would do, you know, if you were doing this. So what we might need to do is, so here's an interesting point. Markdown, I don't know whether Markdown handles videos. I think you probably could just convert it to the same image. But I don't, so for those of you who don't know, the person who asked me for this plugin, Remkus, I don't think he's using video, so I don't think it matters. So I think what I might do is, for now, is just remove any HTML that remains, like the video, and then we can come back to it later. So it's not a complete fail. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to commit this. God commit, oh good grief. And I'm going to call it cursor attempt to clean up figure. That's a good point. Maybe we'll do that after I've tried VS Code. That's a good point. So let's save that. Origin. Fix image markdown attempt to cursor. Okay. Oh my word, this music. It is doing my head in. I like quiet, calm, plinky plonky music when I'm live streaming, not happy dancey stuff. Okay. Let's go back to there. Okay, and then let's create a new branch. VSCode. And let's see what VSCode does. All right, let's open up the folder. I have a feeling it's going to do a very similar thing. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it does something very similar. This is way too upbeat. No. All right. Okay. So we open chat. And you switch down here to agent mode. There we go. Must cover as agent files in agent mode. Okay. So now let's get the same command, the same prompt. Now, what's interesting about VS Code is it doesn't have any rules. That I'm aware of. So, the other thing I didn't do was I didn't do this. So let's do that first. Class MP converter. Okay, so let's give it that first. Yeah, it's the same. The context is the same as cursor, so use that to type that. So when we do an issue, I'll see if it can handle external files. I know CoPilot in PHP Storm can't, so I'm interested to see what it does here in VS Code. While it's doing that, I'm going to Perplexity. I'm going to ask Perplexity, does GitHub CoPilot in VS Code have a rules option? I'm going to see what that tells me. Does not have a specific rules option. However, it offers custom instructions and predefined coding guidelines features. Custom instructions, settings.json, or stored there. Copilot instructions. GitHub Copilot instructions. Let's create that. I want to try and set up the environment almost exactly the same. So let's create a new folder called GitHub. And let's create the Copilot instructions file. More super upbeat music. Go away. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to copy the cursor rules. Okay. And then the other feature was predefined coding guidelines. Experiment, which I'm not worried about that. And prompt, specify common instructions or context. Okay, I'm just going to do the rules because that's the only thing I have set up in cursor. Okay. All right, so that's given it whatever the context is that we got from the previous command. So now let's copy out the, let's go to there. I like that little interesting. So what it's done is it's added the preg replace at the start of handle blocks. I wonder what that's going to do. What's so interesting is it hasn't tried to fix anything else. Now that could be because I don't seem to have my PHP CS configured working here. I wonder why that is. Oh, because the extension is disabled. Blast. Okay, let's so I tried to set up the same experiment, but I didn't actually have it configured the same way. Anyway, so let's undo that. Let's try it again. See what it does. Oh, now it's actually... The trading figure tag issue has already been issued. What? Okay, let's try a new chat window. Flip. Okay, let's try a new chat window. That was a fail on my part. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to copy this elsewhere. Okay, let's try it again. Start voice chat. And that's something the cursor doesn't have. There's a voice option. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's go back here. Okay. Okay, so the changes have been implemented. I'll go and have a look at what that's doing in a second. However, there are several coding standards issues in the file, such as alignment problems, discourage use, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you'd like me to address these. I like the fact that it's asking me that, have to say. Now, what's interesting about this is CoPilot is using GPT 4.0 by default. Cursor uses whatever it wants to for the best auto select, and I think it's Claude by default. But I'm actually liking, so there's two things I'm liking about VSCode. I'm liking the fact that it gives you this little thing that runs down the screen as the changes are made. I like the fact that it hasn't tried to fix more than what I asked it for. So that's kind of cool. Let's have a look at the fix that it's tried to apply. It's basically applied it here in the clean content, which I think was the same place that Cursor did it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go and have a look. I can't even remember. Let's go and have a look at that branch. Just do a pull request. It's the easy way to check. Oh, I can't see the difference. Let's go back one. $145. Oh. So it was in a slightly different spot. After converts horizontal rules. Where's that? Oh, so it was okay. So cursor put it at the end of the handle blocks functionality. VSCode put it inside the clean content function. It's not a bad place to put it. The two times asked. Well, I'm going to call the second time the better one because then I had the right context set up. But yeah, the first time it put it like in kind of completely the wrong place. So second time was a little bit better. It's still probably going to give us the same error because I think it's cleaning the content before it handles the blocks. So it's still going to give the same issue with the video. However, we could tell it to now deal with the video class. Maybe we should do that. I hate the fact that I can't control click. I don't know why that's broken. Anyway. So what I'm going to do, so here's where it gets interesting because what is useful about the fact that clean content is being run first in the VS Code solution is that you can then work with the code that is output, give that to cursor and say, this is a video. And do something with it. Just have the link or whatever. Doesn't the gallery check use the ending figure? I thought it did. That's the irony. So you're right. That's the real bug to fix. See if we have a look at the gallery code. But now you see, Carolina, you're thinking like a developer. You're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be thinking like dumb users who can't code, remember? See, what it should do is in the gallery. So what's happening in the gallery? Let's have a look at the gallery code. So what is, let's go back. Let's actually understand what it's doing. So it's looking for, yeah, you see it's finding it there. So the matches is probably failing or something. But then I would have to actually be a dev and go and check the matches. So this is vibe coding, remember? Yeah, the image as well. But it seems to only be the gallery that's the problem. Yeah, let's do that. So let's keep the change. Let's clean up our tests. Ah, this music. Good grief. I just can't. That doesn't sound much better. That might be okay. All right, let's do another export. Ooh! That's interesting. Looks like it broke some of the functionality, but how? Am I on the right branch? I am. That's so weird. Okay, let's just commit this. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what the difference between these two is. So let's compare the cursor one with the VSCode one. So the cursor one, I seem to remember added some additional cleanup functionality somewhere. Now I can't find it. So this is merging VS Code into cursor. Let's do the other way around. Did I miss something in the base branch, perhaps? I have to do that again because I don't remember seeing it refresh. Interesting. Is that... Did I definitely see what I saw? I have to test it now. Okay, that's the VS Code version. This is super intriguing. Looks like the VS Code version actually made it worse. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong files. Okay, so the problem here is that okay, let's just test all of this. Content, uploads. Okay, I'm going to restart my studio site because I had a problem with this last week. Okay. Then git checkout fix. So that was the original base branch. Let's go back to that. Yeah, I'm going to need to do that again. Don't know what I'm looking at, so I need to verify what I'm looking at. So I'm not going to click the date prefixes. I'm going to just export it as this. Okay. So let's do that. Let's see what we get. Okay, so that's working as expected. Okay, cool. Let's clean that all up. Then let's switch to VS Code option. It's definitely worse. That's so bizarre. Okay. So now let's compare VS Code to the branch it's based off. So it's added. Oh, you know what the problem is with that? By removing the closing figure tag, it's messing with the regex. So this was actually a worse solution. That's hilarious. Interesting. Okay. Something to be aware of. So actually the cursor solution was the better solution because it's almost like it kind of took into context what it was doing. It did the cleanup after the blocks had been handled, not before. That's interesting. Okay. So cursor 1, VS Code 0. Let's move on to seeing if we can give it a GitHub issue. So I'm going to switch to the, yes, indeed. It seems that CoPilot, and I wonder if that's because Cursor has the context from the last time we worked on this. I don't know. I don't know. Just need to think about. Okay. Let's see what it does with one of these issues. So one of these days I need to fix this whole having to download everything and test it manually business. What I'm going to do, I'm back to main, so that's cool. I'm going to work on the, I'm going to leave those branches there. I'll come back to them later. I feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm going to have to fix that issue myself. Anyway, I'm probably by looking at the gallery process and fixing that. Let's have a look at the lists are not correctly included thing. So let's go back into the posts and let's make some nested lists because that's where I saw issues. So I'm going to just do it on the gaming consoles post because it's just easier. So I'm going to just basically indent some of these. I'm not going to change much of the content. I'm just going to edit it and put it into indented lists. Okay, so we'll do that with that one, and then let's do the same with that one's not long enough. Okay, so let's do some indenting here. Let's actually make this a bulleted list. And then let's say okay. Whatever. I just want to make it more indented. I want to see what happens. Okay, so that's a good example. So let's save that. It's music. I want mellow, plinky, plonky music. No, maybe. Okay. Let's see what it does with those lists. Okay, that seems to have worked as expected. That seems to have worked as expected. Let's go check out the next list. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so it's definitely breaking with those kind of lists. It's definitely not happy with that. So, again, not ending tags. I'm wondering if I'm wondering if it's just a case of not, because like the Bluetooth in your headphones has an opening tag. So I'm wondering if it's a case of it's assuming all lists are just one level. And so it's not going, okay, is there more content in there? So I'm going to say something like, I'm going to add something like that to the issue list. So let's say, or to the issue itself. On inspection would appear this happen with indented lists. It regex the functionality that converts lists probably needs some sort of recursive function. So let's call them nested lists. Okay. So that gives it some information on the GitHub issue. Let's go create a branch. Fix nested lists. And let's create another one for cursor. And then we'll come back and create one for VSCode. Okay, so let's start again with cursor. See, so if we have a look, it's looking for lists, and then it's running through the list, and then it's not going if this is further list, come back and blah, blah, blah. So that's probably what we're looking at here. So let's say read this GitHub issue, and I just pasted that. It puts the ampersand in front of it for me. I just pasted it in. And suggest a fix for nested lists. Suggest a fix for nested lists covering unordered and ordered lists. Now, what's interesting is, let's view this post. I want to see what the HTML is that drives this post. Go away. Okay, so it's an ordered list as a list item. Then it has an unordered list with a list item. Let's see if it's going to handle that. I don't think it will. I don't think Cursor will handle this, or VSCode. It'll be interesting to see. Let's give it a whirl. Let me copy this out so we've got it in our prompt list. This music. Really. I feel like the stream is going to be me complaining about the music all day. Okay. Doesn't include handling nested lists. Okay. Okay, it's going to propose a fix. And I'm just going to accept this and see what happens. I want to see how bad or good the solution is. And then we'll test VSCode and see what VSCode does. Okay, it's done a whole bunch of changes. It's a whole bunch of code. She made changes to 2 files. Oh no, it's just one file. Okay. So let's accept that. and let's see what happens. Alrighty. Today I learned you click there and you can click about WordPress. It'll tell you about your current WordPress version. I didn't know that. Okay. So let's export. Let's clean up our local export. Let's get this down. Did that download? Oh, wait, let's download it. All right. Let's see what we have. I mean, that's okay. That's the one that did work, I think, earlier. Nope. Still broken. Did not do a great job of that. All that code didn't fix the problem. Okay. Let's commit that. Music sounds very dramatic. Okay. There. Okay. Same prompt. Same context. Let's see what VSCode does. Did we give cursor a new window? We did. Okay, so let's give cursor a new agent window. Okay, so it looks like you can give it links, so it's exactly the same as cursor, so that's good. Let's see, unordered. I can't spell unordered. Ordered lists. So one thing I've noticed about these agents is they do kind of pick up when you spell things incorrectly. It's quite clever. Actually, I don't know how that works, but it's pretty clever. Okay, let's see what this does. I don't have the blast. I don't have the converter open. I'm not going to lie, I really like this generating and applying edits thing. It's really cool. It's such a small thing, but it just makes me feel like something is happening. It probably is no different, but it's a clever little touch. Okay, so those are the changes. Now it's doing coding standards issues, which is fine. Because I told it in the rules, so it's fine. I haven't told this instance not to fix anything like I did in the other instance, so that's fine. Claudina says, I'm waiting for it to start mocking me for my typos. I mean, wouldn't that be the clever thing to do, like as a AI coding tool developer, to actually include that kind of stuff, so it makes the person using it think that it's actually realizing and mocking you for those things. Okay, so let's keep all of the changes. Let's see what it does. So let's clear out our download. Let's go back to here. Let's export. Let's download the export. Let's have a look and see what it has done. No, this music is no. I feel like I'm in the Matrix. That doesn't sound much better. That's better. It's called Smooth Move. That sounds a lot better. Okay. So that one's still fine. There's the other one. Nope. 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 It's better. I'll be honest. It's better. Because the picked up at a conference was the first list in the item. The first indented list in the item, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it's better. And that's right. And that's right. Now, the reason it's right is because it's included the list items. So it's a better solution. It's still not the right solution, but it certainly is better. I still would hate to vibe code and fix it, I'll be honest. In terms of the actual code it's generated, it actually looks like it's generated something which is a bit more recursive, as opposed to this wall of code, which what cursor did. I feel like you could still, could be wrong, but I feel like looking at what the export is here, you could still tweak this to get it right. I don't feel like with the other one you could at all. The other one was horrible. It was the same basically. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. So, in summary, functionality-wise, practically the same. The fact that you can add links is a cool bonus. It's the one thing that I missed using CoPilot. It's one of the reasons I switched to using Cursor, because I could never add links to external tutorials or external documentation to come up with solutions. What really excites me about this is the fact that this functionality could come to PHP Storm, because I do have GitHub CoPilot installed in PHP Storm. I can't yet have the chat option. I can only add a reference to a local file, for example. So I'm really hoping that the agent feature comes to the PHP Storm plugin, because then I can use that in PHP Storm, and then I'll be very happy because I work in PHP Storm. Whether it will happen is another story, because I think Microsoft, GitHub, VSCode, they all, Microsoft owns GitHub these days. So they're going to want you to use VSCode. But that having been said, all of the functionality that exists in CoPilot has eventually come over to the IntelliJ IDE plugins. Ooh, there it is! I just found it. It's called CoPilot Edits. No, is it? Can I add a link? No. Okay. So CoPilot edits is there, but it can't read external files yet. So I feel like the next step is just for them to do something. No, it means the project. So I can give it links to the project. So I can click there, add files, and I can give it links to the files within the project. So you can give it context and then make edits. So it's almost there. It's almost there. I feel like the next step will be for the plugin to be updated to include the agent. And then I'll be very happy because personally, I've been using GitHub CoPilot for a while now. I generally find it pretty good. For me, the big thing with Cursor was the fact that you could reference anything internally or externally. That was the big reason to use it. There have been a couple of times where I've worked either on content or code and I've needed to give it a link to an external article or tutorial or piece of documentation because it doesn't have the context. So would I switch to using VS Code over Cursor? Okay, so here's a thing to think about. I have a GitHub CoPilot maintainer's license, so I have the pre version for free. However, they did say CoPilot did say a while back that they would be giving all VS Code users a free license to CoPilot or something. So it is quite a intriguing option, especially for somebody new to coding, especially for somebody who's never worked with Cursor or VS Code or these things before, wants to try building something. I would definitely say try VS Code with CoPilot first because of the agent functionality that's just been launched. Cursor is going to cost you. I wouldn't say one is strongly better than the other. Just different. Okay, I'm going to commit this to the branch. And I'm going to just leave it there and maybe come back to it one day. Let's do that. So that's all there. So if you want to check this out, it's all in the repo. I still need to fix these issues at some point because Remquist does want to use this thing. So at some point in the future, I need to pick a tool and sit down and try and fix some more of these issues. But I don't have time to do that today. So that is where I'm going to wrap up today, folks. I hope that was interesting. If you're deciding between Cursor and VS Code with CoPilot, and you haven't used either of them, I would say start with VS Code and CoPilot. If you're already used to Cursor, I would say stick to Cursor. If you're already used to VS Code, stick with VS Code and CoPilot. There's not one that's better than the other. They're about the same. I do like the fact that VS Code now has this agent functionality. I think I'll be spending a lot more time with it over the next few weeks to get a better understanding of it and how well it works. And I might end up canceling my Cursor accounts if I find VS Code and CoPilot is good enough with the free maintainer's license that I have. Interesting. We live in interesting times, folks. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Carolina, for being so interactive. I do appreciate it. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching this on Twitch, please consider subscribing or following if you haven't already. But otherwise, enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. And I'll see you next week. I have no idea what I'm going to do next week. I'll probably carry on fixing some bugs. Probably with VS Code and CoPilot in a more focused, let's get these bugs fixed way. What I do really need to do is actually sit and look at the code and make sure I understand the code first. So that when it suggests things, I know whether it's a good idea or not. But that's probably what I'll do next week, unless something else cool comes up. And then I'll play with that. Awesome. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your Friday. Bye.